When I decorated our house, my husband's family showed up and changed everything. They smiled and said, "A wife should follow the husband's family style." My husband just shrugged and smiled. "That's just how it is," he said. I let them finish. But the next morning, they walked into a house they didn't recognize, and they were completely shocked. I'm in my late 30s, living in the suburbs near Cincinnati, Ohio. I work full-time from home as an interior decorator. I've been married to Roy, not his real name, for 5 years. Roy's family believes in tradition, doing things their way. They expect everyone else to do the same. I didn't grow up that way, so I knew we'd eventually have problems. I just didn't think it would happen like this. 2 years ago, Roy and I bought a house together, or at least that's what he says. But I paid the down payment and my name is the only one on the deed. That'll matter later. We moved into a simple but beautiful 3-bedroom house. Real wood floors, a big backyard, and clean, open spaces. I saw so much potential. I wanted to make it feel like home. Roy didn't care about the design. He always said, "You're the expert, do what you want." So I did. I spent months working on the house. I didn't waste money. I planned carefully, made design boards, did some DIY projects, and bought a lot of secondhand and vintage items. The house felt cozy, modern, and warm. It felt like ours. Really, it felt like mine. Something I had worked so hard to create. Then his family visited. It was a Sunday afternoon in September. Roy said his family just wanted to visit for a couple of hours. No problem. I baked muffins, made coffee, put out snacks, and even lit a candle. At 1 p.m., they all showed up, his parents, sisters, and a cousin. I opened the door expecting compliments. Instead I got, "His mom, Delia, oh, this is very modern." His sister, Tess, "It doesn't feel like a family home." His dad just grunted. I thought they were just being rude, like usual. But it got worse. They stayed much longer than planned. Around 3:30 p.m., while I was in the kitchen, I saw Tess and Delia whispering. A few minutes later, Roy and his dad were carrying things inside. They brought in huge boxes, a rolled-up rug, a painting, and even a curtain rod. I watched in shock as they brought in box after box, furniture, decorations, dishes, even lamps. It was like they were moving in. I asked Roy, "What is going on?" He wouldn't look at me. "They just brought things they thought we'd like. It's not a big deal." Then Delia smiled at me and said, "A wife follows the husband's family style. That's tradition." I was speechless. Roy didn't stop them. They started removing everything I had designed and decorated. My custom coffee table, put in the garage, my curtains, replaced with heavy burgundy ones. They even took down my light fixture and installed one Delia had in storage. They'd boxed up my handmade decorations and replaced them with Bible quotes, fake flowers, and ugly paintings. I kept looking at Roy, hoping he'd say something. He didn't. When I finally asked him about it, he just said, "They're trying to help." But they weren't helping. They were taking over. Still, I said nothing. Not yet. I sat on the couch for 2 hours while they redecorated everything like I didn't exist. No one asked for my opinion. Roy just watched sports on his phone. By 7 p.m., my house looked like a mess. Heavy colors, random furniture, fake plants, and Jesus paintings everywhere. It didn't feel like home anymore. After they left, I didn't cry or yell. I just sat on the bed, silent. Roy came in and said, "Don't be mad. You know how my family is." That broke something inside me. I asked, "Do you like what they did?" He shrugged. "I don't really care. It's just stuff." I said nothing, but I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up and made a plan. They were going to keep coming and bringing more of their stuff. Roy wouldn't stop them. So I decided to let them finish and then take everything back in one clean move. I rented a storage unit a few towns away. I texted my friend Theo, who owns a moving company. Years ago, I helped design his office for free. He still owed me. I told him I needed everything removed, quietly and quickly. Their stuff out, my stuff back in. We scheduled it for Friday night. During the week, I acted grateful, smiled, made cookies. I even thanked them for their gifts. They had no idea what was coming. Friday night, at 11:30 p.m., Theo arrived with his team. They worked fast. By 1:45 a.m., everything they had brought was gone. Donated. Thrown out. I didn't ask where. I didn't care. By 2:30 a.m., my house was mine again. I stood barefoot in the living room, just looking at it all. I could finally breathe. Then the real fun started. They came back around 10 a.m. on Saturday. Roy told them to come help finish the house. I sat on the couch, dressed in black, sipping coffee. When they walked in, they were stunned. Delia looked around, shocked. Tess's mouth dropped. Molly whispered, "What the hell?" Even had said, "Where's the stuff?" I said calmly, "Gone. All of it." Roy was confused. "You took it all out?" I didn't respond. Delia stormed up to me. "You can't just throw out our things." "Sure I can," I said. "None of it belonged here. They were gifts. I didn't ask for them. They were part of the family. This isn't the family's house." Then I held up the deed. "This house is in my name. Not Roy's. Not the family's. You walked in like you owned it. You don't." Delia turned red with anger. She yelled, "You ungrateful little." Roy interrupted her. "Mom, calm down." That surprised me. But then he turned to me and said, "You should have told me." I looked at him and said, "Why would I? You didn't listen the first 10 times." The room went silent. Tess whispered, "She's not family. You knew she'd do this." Then Delia snapped, "You want a husband, you follow his family. You've disrespected us since day one. You think you're a decorator, but you're temporary. This house is temporary. You are temporary." I looked at Roy. He didn't say anything. Just rubbed his forehead. I'd had enough. "Tell them how much you paid for this house," I said to him. Silence. Delia looked at him. What's she talking about? I didn't wait. I laid the documents on the table. "I bought this house with my inheritance. Roy's name isn't on anything. Not the title, not the mortgage, not the insurance. He didn't pay a single cent." I looked at Roy, hoping he'd speak up for me. He didn't. He couldn't. Delia looked shocked, like she'd bitten into something sour. "You let her buy the house by herself?" she asked. Roy looked down. "She had the money. It made sense," he said. Delia shook her head. "You embarrassed our whole family." She grabbed her purse and left. Tess and Molly followed her, whispering. Ed just gave me a nod, like he finally respected me. Or maybe feared me. I wasn't sure. Roy stood silently at the door as they left. He didn't say anything. That night, he slept on the couch. He said he needed space. Fine by me. The next morning, I went to the garage and noticed something was wrong. One of my boxes was open, clearly labeled with my handwriting. Things were missing. My ceramics, a framed print, a lamp, and my favorite watering can. I checked the storage room. More boxes were opened. One was gone. I rushed inside and asked Roy if he had moved anything. He looked surprised. "No, what are you talking about?" "Don't lie," I said. "Someone took stuff from the garage." His jaw tightened. "I didn't do it." "Then who did?" He looked down. That's when I knew. I searched the garage and basement carefully. Behind the water heater, under an old cloth, I found the empty box. The tape had been cut. The label, "Living Room," fragile, was half torn off. Everything inside was gone. These were my things, special to me. I asked Roy, "Did your mom or sisters come back into the house while I was out?" He hesitated. That was enough. I asked again, slower. Finally, he admitted it. "Yeah, I gave Tess the spare key, just to get her pie dish. That's all." He gave his sister the key to my house, without asking me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just walked to the laundry room, took out the backup keys, and changed every lock, front, back, garage, even the storage room. Roy watched me. "You're seriously changing the locks?" "Yes." "You're overreacting." "No, I'm reacting, for once." The next day, Tess came by with a large storage bin. "I came to return a few things that got mixed up," she said quickly. I took the bin but didn't invite her in. "Aren't you going to check it?" she asked. "I will later." "You're not even going to say thank you?" I didn't say anything. She left, annoyed. Inside the bin were the missing items, candlesticks and my ceramic lamp. But the lamp had a chip. The candlesticks had wax on them. They weren't returned, they'd been used. The framed print had new glass. But when I turned it over, the corner was bent and torn. Someone tried to take it out and damaged it. They hadn't just borrowed my things, they messed with them. Later, I went through our home computer. Roy's email was open. In his drafts folder, I found an unfinished email to Tess. Mom still has that cabinet from Grandma's. If you swap it in before she's back from yoga, she won't notice. Me. They were planning to keep changing my home behind my back. Even after everything, Roy knew he was part of it. So I emailed my lawyer and asked for documents tied to the trust I used to buy the house. The next day, she confirmed. I was the sole owner. Roy had no legal claim. I had proof, but I wasn't done. 2 days later, Roy didn't come home. No texts, no calls. At 10:47 p.m., I got a voicemail from Tess. Roy's staying here for now. When you're ready to talk like an adult, we'll think about setting boundaries. They really thought they'd won, that they'd driven me out of my own home. I started packing Roy's things, clothes, shoes, chargers, labeling every box. Then I found something, an envelope with 2 storage unit receipts. Dates matched the week before Delia and her daughters first visited. They'd been planning everything. I went to the storage facility listed on the receipts. When I opened Unit 117, I was stunned. It was a copy of my house. Same setup, different styles. Same couch, different pattern. Same light fixture, just brass. Even the photo frames were empty. They were going to replace me, my taste, my space, even my memories. I printed photos of everything. Then Roy texted, inviting me to dinner at his mom's. I said yes. At the table sat Roy, Delia, Tess, Molly, Ed, and cousin Jason. Delia said, "You're finally being reasonable." Tess added, "Took you long enough." I put a folder on the table. I went to Unit 117. The room went silent. Delia asked, "Excuse me?" I know about the replica of my house. The furniture. The empty frames. Tess tried to lie. We were just saving old furniture. I slid a photo across the table. Roy stared at it and broke. It wasn't supposed to go that far. "Be quiet," Delia hissed. But Roy stood up. "No, she was right. I let you all bulldoze her." He looked at me. "I let you down." Tess snapped. "You're supposed to be one of us." Molly added, "She's making a scene." "I'm not," I said calmly. "I'm defending my home." I dropped another folder. Inside, Roy's name removed from all joint accounts. House title reconfirmed under my trust. Locks changed. Legal notice. Roy had 48 hours to collect his things. I said, "You tried to erase me. You failed." I left. Later that night, Roy texted, "I just wanted peace." I replied, "You don't get peace without protecting it." He came by, quiet, packed his bags. He cried. I didn't hug him. He said sorry. I nodded. Okay. Delia never contacted me again. Tess did, once, to accuse me of poisoning Roy. I ignored her. Jason, the cousin, messaged me. "You handled that with more grace than I've ever seen. If you ever need backup, I'm around." It's been 6 months. The house is calm. Peaceful. My kind of peace. A new plant sits by the door. My lamp, now fixed, glows beside it. They tried to replace me. Instead, I removed them. I lost a marriage, but I found something more important, a home that no one can take from me again.